CHADhan bros. You won. I kneel. Idris Elba kneels. We all kneel. Total CHADhan victory. As is obvious, this video will contain spoilers for Dragon Ball Super Superhero. That title is awkward when you say it out loud. So, if one dislikes spoilers, turn the video off and go watch that movie. If one does not mind spoilers, well, it is Dragon Ball, so it's Dragon Ball. The fact this movie is named Beast is rather relevant too. Funnily serendipitous as well. The return of Gohan Blanco? Question mark? Esto es el fin? No, it's never over. This video still gets consistent views after more than 4 years. What little context can be created is recorded in it, so go watch it as well. This is a history on the history of a joke that went very, very far. This joke is far from dead. So is Gohan Blanco canon? Did the combined forces of the internet, shitposters, and a sovereign country, Mexico, post an internet meme transformation into existence in a Japanese anime? The truth? Kind of, but not really. A series of interesting coincidences, ingrained Dragon Ball writing decisions, and internet popularity produced Beast Gohan, or Gohan Beast. A new transformation for everyone's favorite character. A character design choice that looks eerily reminiscent of the long-rumored Gohan Blanco. Beast is not Blanco, but close enough. People apparently did scream Blanco in the theater when it appeared. Also, Orange Piccolo. There then were other strange results that also need to be observed from the fact this joke spread so far. Those results were actually more official than Gohan Blanco, technically. This points to how culturally influential Dragon Ball is outside its own sphere, or ball. The franchise is fundamentally entangled with the idea of anime on the Western internet. Jokes, which originate from the series' fanbase, have their own cultural influence, as with Blanco. Blanco and El Hermano, as terms, have almost become shorthand to refer to certain stereotypes of fan characters. Both the epic transformation and mysterious/evil brother trope. 4 years have been a particularly long time to percolate in the lead-up to Superhero. Now then, today is how this all went from Gohan Blanco to CHADhan Beast. In short, Gohan Blanco is a fake transformation often joked about on the internet, usually on forums or image boards. Gohan Blanco as a joke was riffing on bizarre fan theories and fan art, mostly from Mexico or Spanish-speaking parts of the internet. Usually a subsection of Dragon Ball fans, real or not, who are obsessed with Gohan, or as they called him, CHADhan. Their claim being he should be the real main character of the franchise as Toriyama had originally planned. Post-Cell, that is. Goku always goes over, why shouldn't Gohan? Many of the arguments about this were somewhat tongue-in-cheek, as they had been happening for almost a decade by this point, but a kernel of truth in all that. The only real arguments in Dragon Ball are about power levels in the end. Near the end of Dragon Ball Super's run, those vocal Gohan fans became associated with Mexico because their posts were associated with broken English, random fan theories, and subpar fan art. The success of Dragon Ball Super, Superhero, was vindication to Gohan fans, serious or not, even if they weren't from Mexico. Even before the main Dragon Ball Super series in 2015 to 2018, primordial elements of Gohan Blanco can be traced back to the Dragon Ball fan culture of the 2000s internet. Odd fragments which are from Dragon Ball AF, After Future, and other fan works and concepts. A new, more powerful form of Super Saiyan with white hair can be traced back to fan illustrations from the era, especially the famous, or infamous, Super Saiyan 5 image which circulated across the internet. though Toriyama did mention a new white hair form would appear in Dragon Ball Super, which turned out to be Ultra Instinct. The use of white hair in these earlier fan characters / forms may be influenced by Baby Vegeta from Dragon Ball GT. These fake Saiyans, though, spread to merchandise bootleggers who had no idea or care about the series they were counterfeiting. That led the way to a whole wave of low-quality, bizarre Dragon Ball merch, which the internet is still seeing to this day. Even the current illustrator for the Dragon Ball Super manga, Toyotaro, produced a fan manga called Dragon Ball AF back when he went by Toyble. It's how he developed a style so similar to Toriyama. This was a cauldron of Dragon Ball culture internet posters could draw from for jokes or references. Gohan Blanco in concept was produced during the Tournament of Power arc of Dragon Ball Super, the crystallization of disparate madness happening mostly on 4chan's A-board and other websites, though there were other sources like with Joe Capo's videos on YouTube. Gohan fans thought Toriyama's statements were foreshadowing the true turn to Gohan as the series hero. Insistent posters adding Gohan Blanco and more random characters to the power rankings produced during the arc. Gohan Blanco was going to defeat El Hermano de Jiren and the true villain, El Grande Padre. This was the end. Esto es el fin. These names had an ironic influence of Spanish fan theories from YouTube, after all. The persistent joke posts added to the high energy of the threads, which were moving very fast near the end of the series. The absurdity of the Blanco character won over the threads and turned it from a pejorative into a fan-favorite fan character during the series. Posters were beginning to want Blanco to happen in reality. Leave Jiren to me? No. Leave Jiren to Blanco. Blanco produced an outpouring of lore which built up these characters. Beside Gohan Blanco, there was El Hermano de Jiren, whose name became just El Hermano, the brother of the Pride Trooper Jiren, thought dead for years. He returned to defeat the ultimate evil, El Grande Padre. El Grande Padre, the High Priest of the Angels, the man who killed Jiren's family, and the most powerful being in the multiverse. Blanco could only defeat him by attaining the true power of Calvo. There were also the Shaggies, red shirt and green shirt, what is this, Lupin, who entered the tournament because, well, they got in there somehow, probably because of this YouTube video. All of this also produced many less serious variations of Jiren. Some of these are pretty crazy. There was no doubt a surplus of OC, some of which lasted and some of which did not, as does all original content. Modded Dragon Ball videos always being popular on YouTube, Joe Capo's videos brought Gohan Blanco to YouTube with their own lore. Unfortunately, the original Joe Capo channel has been purged, but some of their Blanco videos are still floating around in re-uploads. These spread the whole lore to YouTube, which ended up becoming its own unique strain of the characters on YouTube. Elsewhere on YouTube, these internet original characters were inspiring their own tongue-in-cheek OC. The channel PokeMixer92 composed Theme of El Hermano, which is an actual music theme for the unofficial fan character. It's a pretty accurate homage to compositions for Dragon Ball character scores as well. Fan characters are now receiving their own epic musical themes. On the funnier side, Saiyan Rec has produced raps for both El Grande Padre and El Hermano. It includes the legendary line, El Hermano muchas gracias.
Toma 3 hit magia, quadrado 3 soco tipo e virilha. Ele hermano nato, irmão de Jiren. Goku, Rito, Vegito, Freeza nem ninguém. Sabe arrancá-lo? ovo do rito, Budōkai na capa do topo. Goten Black Saiyajin branco, calvo, Gohan vai virar mito de novo.
El hermano, en muchas gracias. El hermano, muchas gracias.
This OC also led to non-Spanish/Portuguese speakers thinking El Hermano is literally Jiren's brother's name. The fact his name literally became El Hermano will always be funny. These characters are self-perpetuating in their absurdity and are oddly endearing. So is Beast Gohan equally absurd? The obvious joke is about Gohan going beast mode, but it can be translated as either Beast Gohan or Gohan Beast. That is official according to Toriyama as well, describing the form as the wild beast inside him has awakened. The important thing is it made a white hair version of Gohan canon in the Dragon Ball franchise. Is it a canonization of Blanco though? If anything, Beast Gohan kinda looks more absurd than Blanco. Blanco, in most edits, was basically a color swap of Mystic Gohan. Beast Gohan has a pretty big hair spike, though Toriyama calls it a bun in translation, compared to other Saiyan forms. I mean, look at the size comparison here. Beast Gohan sort of implied to be an advancement of Mystic Gohan, as Gohan posters fan-theoried Blanco would be at the end of the Tournament of Power. The important thing, CHADhan fans won. As Toriyama said, frankly, I don't know what kind of design I should use if I transform it again. He finished with a laugh. Unknown to Toriyama though, there may be one more. Toriyama's issues designing Beast Gohan make it clear the character design was the end result of his usual Dragon Ball process. On the grand scale, something resembling Gohan Blanco or Beast Gohan was inevitable. Toriyama, or the Dragon Ball franchise, was inevitably working toward a direct, white-haired form. After all, Super Saiyan was partially developed so Toriyama and his assistant could save ink and wrist power drawing Goku's hair. In the manga, Super Saiyan was intended to be either blonde or white. The manga pages did not really distinguish it originally, but the original Super Saiyan and Beast seem to have had the same design issues as well. Toriyama thought both forms' unique appearances looked too angry and violent for a hero protagonist, but decided both would make sense in context. Toriyama worried about the original Super Saiyan transformation, but in terms of design, the facial expressions and such would become like the design for a villain. I wonder if it's really okay for him to be like this. Granted, since his transformation is accompanied by rage, I also thought, I suppose that part's fine. It was a pretty radical concept. With respect to the villains, my editor would say, for instance, I don't like this. And in those circumstances, I'd change it. Raphs. Before long, they should transform became the norm, so that was a pain. Akira Toriyama very much functions on a give the fans what they want sort of attitude. There is no real proof Toriyama was aware of all the fan commotion across the Pacific though. He is pretty notoriously reclusive outside official press-related Dragon Ball functions. Even before Dragon Ball, he was essentially a millionaire from Dr. Slump money. There appears to be a too steep language barrier for the Blanco jokes to penetrate across to Japan's internet spheres/culture. Though, with the whole cease and desist sent to Mexico, Toriyama has to be aware of his Mexican fanbase to some degree. Then again, Dragon Ball is in Fortnite now, so Toriyama must have been given the contract to sign to put the Kamehameha in Fortnite. The player can even watch actual Dragon Ball Super episodes in it. Is this an apology for the cease and desist sent to the Mexican government? There is not even much to say about this because, beyond the fever dream images, it's ultimately a pretty generic shooter crossover event. Though, apparently for some, this was one step too far. Maybe it is. Fortnite is a cultural black hole where eventually everything is devoured. Devoured? Once again, movie spoilers. There was also Cell Max. Since Dragon Ball Super, Superhero was sort of a send-up to the Gohan-centric parts of the Cell saga. Notice Gohan studies bugs, and Cell was a bug. Well, kind of. Unfortunately, there was no Cell Dorado, Golden Cell, only Big Cell. The one time it would have been the funniest to have a character be an alternate color palette swap. It is a new design instead. Recolors have predicted Dragon Ball transformations before, after all. Goku Black, Goku Rosé, Gohan Blanco, and Frieza, Black. On more than 2 accounts, technically, but no Cell Dorado. There's very much a given enough time, anything will happen situation. Fans and typewriters. All Dragon Ball transformations are theoretically templates with an exhaustible, variable set of colors and styles. Given enough time, Dragon Ball fans will develop the platonic form of every possible Dragon Ball character and transformation. Even Calvo is possible on a long enough timeline. The whole Blanco lore has been largely contained to the Anglophone and Hispanophone internet. The most direct impact on any IP from the entire joke has been, of them all, not Dragon Ball, but Scooby-Doo? Ultra Instinct Shaggy was the one part of it to breach internet containment. Superpowered Shaggy from the Tournament of Power tier lists eventually leaked over to Reddit, basically through meme subreddits where it was exposed to different evolutionary pressures than 4chan or YouTube. On Reddit, an independent internet ecosystem, it became disconnected from the wider Blanco context. It became about Shaggy, usually from the live-action Scooby-Doo movie, current Shaggy voice actor Matthew Lillard, being almighty and all-powerful as Shaggy. The 100% of his power joke is very much a holdover from the Dragon Ball context. Though there are also video edits which added to the joke and reintroduced it to YouTube/Twitter. The Ultra Instinct Shaggy video was the original vector of its spread, if not where the idea/joke originally came from, besides the Blanco lore. This led to people attempting to get Shaggy into Mortal Kombat, since that was also owned by Warner Brothers. He did not directly appear there, but it did lead to a few interesting things. Warner Brothers, or some designer at Warner Brothers, went on to make Ultra Instinct Shaggy canon, though not under that name because of copyright. As much as there is a canon to Scooby-Doo anyways. They basically used UI Shaggy in the intro to the Mortal Kombat movie, Mortal Kombat Legends Battle of the Realms. He was also voiced by Matthew Lillard there too. Both Mortal Kombat creator Ed Boon and Lillard acknowledged the joke on Twitter. Warner Bros. Likes to lean into the Ultra Instinct Shaggy joke, it appears. They not only foreshadowed it in the Mortal Kombat movie, but then made it official in a licensed video game, Warner Bros. Multiverses. Shaggy is essentially a Dragon Ball character there, and uses a martial arts fighting style. His bio even states,
"The last thing Shaggy remembers before the change was exploring another spooky old mansion with his pal Scoob, just like another day with the gang. He found a strange glowing crystal and, thinking it was rock candy, went to take a bite. There was a flash and then blackness. When he came to, he found himself in possession of incredible powers. He doesn't know where they came from or how they work, but he's vowed to use them to vanquish evil and protect the little guy. As soon as he gets some lunch, that is."
Leave Jiren to him, I guess? Dragon Ball shitposting is becoming increasingly avant-garde. Unexpectedness is a key component of the Dragon Ball story, according to Akira Toriyama. Its cultural power has resulted in Spanish becoming associated with fan theories in anime. The name Blanco usually joking about a new absurd transformation/fan character, and El Hermano about a twist character thrown in to complicate the plot for no reason. How to even describe the origins of these terms? Fan theory joke character names turned into terms for certain overused story points in theory crafting. The unexpected is amusing as it is true. It's as true as posting about Dragon Ball Online as it is true about the actual show, movies, franchise, card game, etc. That is why Dragon Ball jokes and theories can be increasingly unmoored from anything actually related to Dragon Ball as a series. Goku has always had the ability to jump cultural barriers. Dragon Ball is a strong vector for the spread of ideas on the internet. It connects both many internet spheres and cultures, as does anime in general. Arguments about it are what fuel the momentum. As seen, Dragon Ball can indirectly touch a totally distinct franchise in another country. An influence felt even when it was unknown. As influence spreads out on the internet, it is sanitized and removed of the context of its origins, but it still exists. It can be traced back to a source, sometimes with some difficulty, but it can. Dragon Ball itself was after all based on kung fu movies and Journey to the West. Yes, the Chinese Journey to the West is indirectly responsible for Mexicans posting about CHADhan and Shaggy having superpowers. That is the power of the internet. Worlds collide, or universes. It's pretty interesting. Fan characters that have journeyed from the east to the west, and then back again. Esto es el fin. For allowing me to make whatever this video was, I'd like to thank my supporter, the Gel Somini family.